Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back. So here's another edition of my Money Fears coaching, and today I have with me Carissa. So
Hi,
Carissa,
everyone.
do you want to tell everyone what you've been up to?
Yes. Well, hello, everybody. I know you haven't seen my face or my interactions in a while. I recently got diagnosed with Lyme disease, so I've been, having a couple of rough months. So I'm very glad to have the diagnosis, and I'm feeling so much better. So now I can kind of dive in and get more involved. I feel like, this whole year I've been having issues with my health and I've been out and in, and your health and yourself is your priority, right? That's all that I'm all about. So I got to lead through examples, so I'm going to do that anyway. So, but yeah, so I guess I'll let Haley ask the question, and then we'll go from there.
Yes. So, well, we were just talking about this. So you had told us before you're getting into coaching, you want to do coaching, but lately you've decided you want to move more into a writing space, right? So tell us a little bit more about that. What is?
Yeah, of course. So I have all of my coaching stuff like ready to go. Like I have my website, I have what I want to talk about. Embodiment of mind and self and soul and self-love and care. After having a recent, night with the guides with Marissa too, she did bring up that I do have a deeper message and a deeper, purpose. And I've been really tapping into that, which is caused the transition of now that even though I have everything ready for coaching, I'm going to take a pause on it and do writing, because writing right now is what's bringing me the most joy. I'm wearing blue. I mean, blue has been showing up everywhere. Like when I close my eyes, there's blue. Like it's just a lot to say. And it's not even, I don't even feel like it's coming from me what I have to say. And I just want to take the time to really listen, because that's how I channel, that's how I get my guidance and everything. So I really do feel after that one, night with Marissa and the guides and everything, like going forward with that. And then the book idea popped up, which has been like something I've always wanted to do and have. So especially with like the working book, right? And like having, my life experiences, then reflection, because like my whole program, like what I want to design and do with people is teaching, then having them reflect and then implement in their daily lives, so then they can make the changes and they can see it for themselves. Because I don't want to tell people what to do. I want them to find the answers within themselves. I just want to show them tools to figure it out and have some support. And they'll have my love and support, but the best thing to do is figure out yourself. And that's what I want to do right now. Like I want to connect so much and learn so much and write and read. And Massachusetts is about to go in a lockdown. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a pretty strict lockdown very soon, so we're going to be stuck inside. And I know this is going to bring me so much joy, because even though it's 75 degrees right now and it's November, but like it snowed a couple, like, who knows? There's some perks to global warming, it's warm weather, but
Yeah.
but no.
Yeah.
But still, I think it's important right now to kind of take the time to go within a bit. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I think that's a really good reminder that sometimes part of it is pivoting. Like sometimes we think we're going on one track and then we have to pivot. And that doesn't mean that what you were thinking about before isn't going to be helpful later, or your coaching practice will start up at some point, but you're just feeling the call right now to write. Cool. So with that, do you have a question about money?
I do. So obviously, you do need money to survive. It's plain and simple. I mean, if we could just survive on love, I think, we'd all be great, but we can't. So my question is that if I decide to go into, which this is going to be my choice, I'm going to do the writing, how am I going to be able to create an income with that? I know there's freelance writing. I know there's other forms of writing, which I'm totally open to. I'm totally open to doing like a part-time nursing job. I'm totally open to that things. But if I start writing and everything, and having to have a job, is that going to stop the flow? Because, you know, when you're in the workspace and the workforce, it kind of derails your channeling, your connection sometimes when you get sucked up in it all.
Okay, so for this is a 4-card spread about wealth. And so the first question, or the first card that comes up, is your beliefs about money. And this card's upside down, and it is bittersweet. So whenever I get this card, immediately what comes to mind is, it's funny because when I first was getting this card, I was like, what does this card even mean? But as I've done so many sessions and worked with this card, it's really about letting go of control. What we think is our way of controlling a situation, right? Like we want to have a plan, because that's what we were taught to do. Like, have a plan and then follow through on your plan. Like, how many times have you heard that in your life, right? And growing up,
Always.
well, we had a plan. Like, we were always given a plan to us. It's like, okay, you're going to go to kindergarten, then you're going to go to grade 1, and you're going to learn this, and then you're going to go through. So then as we leave like the education system, and then we're kind of like left like, now what are you going to do? We have to figure it out on our own. And it can be letting go of control is bittersweet, because on one hand, it's like, well, I want to know what to do. I want to know what's going to happen next, because that will make me feel secure and like I'm in control. But then on the other hand, it's kind of sweet, because if you know that if you just let go and let things happen, they're going to happen the way they're supposed to. So
Oh, that's funny. I feel like I've had that inner like back and forth with that too, so that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so the things that pop out to me are hidden blessings, celebration tempered by sadness, protecting someone, ability to honor other, new horizons. So
Perfect.
new horizon, and like you just said, this is you're switching, now, you're following your joy. So it's new doors are going to open up the more you follow what works for you. So, yeah.
Yay. And I do like what was the part you said about respecting others, or the second to last part?
Ability to honor others.
I think that's coming up a lot too, especially with like in regards to money, you know, because my mom obviously is very concerned that I'm, you know, not having an income and stuff. So I respect the way she was brought up, how she needs to live her life, to be comfortable, to live, to manage. We are in the middle of a pandemic, you know, Massachusetts it's crazy, it's nuts here. US is crazy, but I think it's important to honor her and not judge her. And that's something that I'm doing in practice now. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, and I like that you mentioned that, because that brings up for me, we often think about our money too in terms of other people, right? Like we want to take care of and support others. And so when we follow our joy, sometimes people won't always understand what it is we're doing. Like sometimes we want to have a plan because that's what we want to tell other people. Like how many times have you gone to a family party, especially Christmas is coming up, you go to a family party and they're like, what are you doing right now? And what are your plans for the future? And so, it's like you're almost expected to have that. And if you're not, you're kind of, I know for me, I always felt like that's what I needed in order to like kind of appease other people. But
yeah, my family, that definitely was a big like sensitive spot for me, because I was, I wasn't ever good enough because I didn't graduate as a nurse. I didn't have the money. I struggle with money still. I just had to ask my mom to borrow money this week, and it I do get judged all the time, and I get told that I'm not good enough, and it's like, whatever, like I'm happy, so the money will come. And they're just like, how can you be so free, caring and stuff? I was like, well, I know I have, the universe has my back, and the money always shows up. It always comes. And I'm really not too worried about it not coming, but ego, right? And, you know,
Yeah.
because you care about those people,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and their opinions and stuff.
Yeah.
The need to belong, you know, and fit in, you're gonna have some sort of sensitivities to that, you know, reaction to it. So
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. So then the next card is what you need to work through. This card is upside down and it is dissipating.
Ooh.
So I'm going to read um, I am more than I think I am. Beware of being imprisoned by the story you tell. Do you intend to do what you say? A lack of planning does not indicate misfortune. Am I doing what I say? Taking action, content to dream, going in circles, strong intelligence, making excuses, procrastination, companionship, connection, assistance. Anything jump out?
Laughing at that everything. What jumped out the most is like I still, I mean, I know this is rooted from childhood trauma and stuff, and I recently had a situation where I was very triggered, and the ability, you know, to let go of, you know, anger, which is something that, you know, it's okay to be angry, but I've never let myself be angry. I know it's kind of like off topic with money and everything, but that's something that's came up a bit with that. But more so, you know, companionship and making excuses. And I think it goes into making excuses that I still don't think I'm good enough. I tell myself that, like, who am I, right? Like, I tell myself I'm nothing special, right? I tell myself all the time that even though, like, I do love myself and I know I'm pretty cool, but like, you know, there are times where you know, and that's deep rooted, and that's, I mean, it's taken me a long time to heal, and it's going to be a healing journey most of my life. You know, I was brought up to, you know, being told every day I wasn't good enough. Like, you know, you'll never be, my dad used to tell me I'd never be smarter than his pinky finger. And like, he would just tell me I sucked all the time. And I was like, okay, cool. But I'm like, you know, I just think it really comes down to knowing what you feel inside and letting go of the expectations of others, like letting go, like you're here for you, right? We're here to use that inner light, and Soraya really helped me with this too. It's, you know, we're here to love, right? And I just feel that moving forward, you know, I have to let go that if someone might not like me, right, I have to let go that I'm not going to do everything perfect, that I can be angry sometimes. You know, there, I can like, and to let go that I'm not good enough because I'm more than good enough. You know, we're all more than good enough. We're all worthy of that. We're all worthy of everything. And, you know, just to take the example, you know, in the United States, like, I don't hate anyone that was a Trump supporter. I don't hate anyone that opposed my views and beliefs and stuff. I want them to have the same thing I want for everybody else, right? And then I want that for myself, and I can't forget about myself. And sometimes I do, but I've taken a lot of steps this year, and I'll continue, you know, to do that. And especially, you know, with my partner Nicholas too, is, you know, being patient and kind and understanding with him, because he lacks a lot of self-esteem issues, which have definitely caused me to have some self-esteem issues. So working together, right, to rise above that, and then therefore will create an inflow of money and abundance because you are letting go and trusting and believing in yourself. So I think moving forward, that will be what we do.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that that's coming up for me is this whole idea around relationships. Like, we don't give ourselves enough credit that sometimes our fears are tied to our relationships, you know, and that can be confusing because it comes from a good place. You know, we want to take care of our loved ones financially, but at what cost, right? So at what cost are we doing that? Because we're making decisions for them, we're not making decisions for us, because and then we're not listening to our intuition and not giving them the benefit of the doubt that their intuition is actually guiding them, but they're sometimes looking at us too, right, and being like, what are you doing? So and that's why it used to confuse me, but now I totally see it. It's like, literally, people are a reflection back to us, and I see that even sometimes. I always see it actually with like Ben, I'll say something, my boyfriend, I'll say something, and then like 2 days later he'll repeat it to someone else, and I'm like, yeah, like we absorb each other, like especially as
Yeah,
him and I are both pretty empathetic, and so we absorb each other's energy. So I have to remember that I'm not doing this because of him, I'm doing this because of me, and he's just reflecting it back to me. So if I can stand strong in my beliefs and what I want to do, then he'll reflect that back to me in due time. But it does, it always starts with us.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so the next one is your feelings about wealth, and this card is wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom is knowing the difference between a calculated risk and stupidity. Is there some wise counsel that you have sought only to ignore it? Are you trying to do things alone? A solution may come from those more experienced than yourself. Stay in the present moment and do not let your thoughts jump ahead. Do I go with my heart or against it? Am I ready to live in leadership? Wise counsel, focus energy, honoring yourself, contribution, being chosen, contentment, transformation, maturity, tranquility, support.
So I think it goes a little bit what I was saying before. I think it is honoring myself and believing in myself and knowing, taking the guidance from within. I think, it's going inward and it's connecting to source, it's connecting to your guides, right? It's connecting. And I think I look at the outside world and I look more than I look inside. And I think your best wisdom is always inside. So I think that's perfect because I've actually made a couple of steps moving forward. Like I set limits on my social media. I set limits on my time. I've set limits. I'm setting up like a nighttime routine where I just read or I reflect and do a couple other extra things to kind of establish that routine of connecting to self in my everyday life even more, and listening to myself, and that, this obviously the past 2 weeks with everything going on and like my diagnosis and like everything, like I haven't been able to, but the last 3 days I have, and it's been beautiful. And I've figured out things, that, oh, that makes sense. That's why we meditate every day, right? So, but definitely I think it's, and listening to people too. You can learn so much from
Just talk.
everyone and asking too, like, and talking about it. I feel like I don't talk about myself. I normally just support everyone else, but I never ask for help. And I think that's important too, especially, can ask like for money if I need help, I can ask for those things. I ask how I can do certain things. Like, I really want to know how I can do freelance writing and write my own content at the same time and create an income, can ask about that. So
Yeah. And you can ask source and your divine guides, just keep reminding yourself, like if you're feeling stuck, instead of trying to figure it out on your own, just ask. A story came up for me that I want to share about this, and it's relating to money. I was asking, because I do this a lot, is I'm asking, okay, how can I, work on my expenses? So I think this is the topic that's coming up for me today, is expenses. Expenses, right? We have expenses. But I also, like Carissa, sorry, I want to start writing. And I was asking, like, okay, if I put my time and attention, how are my finances going to be supported? How will I be supported in that way? Anyways, just a small example. I was thinking about my business expenses and, if there's anything that maybe I could cut out or something that I don't need to do anymore, and I'm paying for the service that helps me with my Instagram account. And so I was asking, like, is this still important? And then I heard, just cancel it. Just like, I just felt this urge to just cancel it. And I was like, really? Like, I had been paying for it for a couple months. They're doing a really good job. I'm really happy with the service. Like, do I really want to just cancel it? Just cancel it. So that's, that's your intuition kicking in, and then my ego immediately like arguing it. So I know if I'm arguing something, that it's best to just like jump in. So I went for easy. I went on the website, I clicked cancel, and I was like, Okay, I did it, move on. A couple hours later, one of the people that work there messaged me and they were like, oh, we were really surprised to see that you canceled because your account's been doing so well. Like, what's going on? And I was like, well, I honestly just think I need to shift around some expenses, and I'm not happy with the service. It's just I felt time to let it go. And they were like, well, it's actually really good timing because our cheaper option just became available. So
Oh.
how about you just do that for a couple more months and see how that goes? And I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I wasn't ready to fully let it go, but I was still feeling like, wow, I'm like, I need to shift some money around. And so there we have it. Then
Oh, I
I
love that. That's
I just,
awesome.
sometimes you just have to jump in and trust that whatever's meant to be is gonna happen. And um you always have a choice. You always have a choice to listen to the voice that's guiding you and always lovingly telling you what's the next best feeling step for you, or the voice of fear and the voice trying to tell you what. And it's tricky sometimes because it sometimes comes in the form of other people, right? You hear, especially I've noticed if I see it being like my parent or a teacher or something, that then I know that's not really coming from a heart. That's just something somebody taught me, and now I have to question it. Is that
Hmm.
really, you know, is that really what I need to be spending my money on? Or is something else, is fear guiding me here? Or did I feel intuitively called to spend on this? That's actually a really good thing to bring up in expenses too, because in business, sometimes where it can be a challenge, right? Because on one hand, there's some things you have to spend money on. And then on the other hand, you think you might have to spend money on certain things. So really tuning into that. Who's this coming from? You can ask that. Who's this really coming from?
Yes. No, I think that's so important, especially, seeing what works best for you because, someone might need a service like, help with their Instagram or like, they need help with marketing or a logo or something, but somebody else might not, and it's like trusting in like what's good for you. So,
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So the last one is potential outcome if you do this work. The card is upside down and it is facade. So facade is, this isn't who I am. If you are unhappy in your relationships, you may be relating to others through a false sense of duty. Give up being something you're not. Bronze God is about reclaiming your life. What have I done to heal my childhood pain? Disassociating from yourself, reclaiming your life, healing childhood pain, recovery, integration, play.
oh, it's funny. Um, I mean, kind of everything we talked about. I think that's pretty spot on. Um, Especially, I think the pain of letting the childhood pain of always trying to prove that I'm good enough, right? Um,
Yep, I can relate
y-
to that one. Yeah.
and even now, even with my mom, like I feel as if I've been um, expressing more, right, on the needs that weren't met as a child because of her own protection of herself, and and um, moving forward with that, like I want to be good enough for her. I want her to be proud of. I know she's proud of me. She tells me all the time, but like I've let go of the need to be. I don't speak to my dad unfortunately anymore, and I've let that go a long time ago. That I don't need to prove him anything, but I think inside I have to let that go, right? Like with them, I've let it go, but like really deep inside, like that means everybody. You got to let that go with everybody
And to you
and
as
move
well,
forward.
to prove to
Yeah,
yourself. You
yeah.
have nothing to prove to yourself, right? I think that was the hardest one for me. Well, and I'm sure it still is like I feel like I need to be doing certain things or making a certain amount of money for myself to prove to myself that makes me worthy or successful or whatever it is in my mind. And it's like, can I just be okay doing what I want to do? Is that okay?
Yeah. No, I feel that. And I know this is so silly, but I feel that way with like my health and my fitness. Um, because like right now, I mean, I'm the heaviest I've ever been, but like I'm still like really happy about it. But I also feel like if, you know, if I'm in super great shape and stuff, then I deserve money. And it's like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But that's how my brain operates sometimes. And it's like, you know, ego. And it's like, no, like it's you're, you know, exactly how you are, you know.
Yeah.
But I think you know, really honing in on just letting go, just letting go. And I think I'm very, not even I think, I know I'm very, very blessed to have Nicholas. And because he is so unbelievably supportive of me and my business. Like, you know, I told him today, like, oh, like I'm gonna do writing and stuff. He's like, okay, it's like completely switched, right? And he's like, I believe you could do the coaching. I think you're ready for that too. But like, okay, like, how are we gonna make that work? Like, so loving, so supportive. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, this is just what I feel.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. I was like, I'm
And,
sorry.
and it doesn't mean you're letting go of the coaching. Like I really strongly believe that because the fact that you put in all of that time and effort and it's there, and it just means that now is where you want to focus for a bit. And it could be for a number of reasons. It could be just you need to increase your capacity for joy for a short period of time. You want to like, there's some things you need to work through your writing or whatever. And the reason why I'm saying it is honestly because to just today, this just happened today, is I was going through some of like, I was looking for something, and then I happened upon the spreadsheet, which is going to be part of this course that I'm building, that I made years ago. Like I made it years ago, and there it is, and I'm like, that's. I thought I was going to recreate it, and then there it was, and it was exactly what I needed. Like sometimes there,
Wow.
you're just being set up for something later, or you need the time, or whatever it is. Like, well, you don't know until later. Hindsight's always 2020, but like, this is just for now. And then sometimes we think, actually, no, this message has been coming up quite a bit for me too, is like sometimes when we're asked to shift, we kind of get tunnel visioned on it, and think, oh, I'm shifting, so
Hmm.
now I'm doing this. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's that you just need to do that for a little bit and then go back and then do that, or whatever the reason
Yeah.
is. We're always being guided for our best and highest purpose. And if that's what you're doing right now, you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to figure out where you're going to go next. You just have to jump in and take the plunge and do it. And I'm saying this because it's also a message for me, and I'm laughing because
It's true. It's so true. And I think, you know, actually I'm can I be honest with everyone? Right before this, I actually had a little fight with Nicholas about money. So I think this is really funny. It wasn't really a fight, but it was me projecting my insecurities about not having income. So therefore he needs to make the income. He needs to get a job because I mean, he's been trying to get a job since May. Right now it's really difficult in his field and stuff. So like, but I was so like on him, like, you need to get a job because I need to write. And it's like, okay, you're projecting your fear, right? I'm projecting. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'm trying. And then he starts crying. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so mean. It's like, and then like we resolved it obviously. And it's like, no, like we're both very stressed because we have a very limited income. And, you know, I don't want to sit here and I guess I have more money fears than I thought. I don't want to sit here and not be able to provide for our kids, you know, our family. We need to move. I want to move. I want our own home. How can I get that if I'm just going to willy nilly go into my writing, right? So I was projecting onto him that you need to provide. And it's like, well, why don't we work on it both, you know, and go from there? So sorry. I was like, I'm going to mention that.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's exactly what we've been talking about is the main themes I've noticed, the relationships and expenses, and they're very intertwined because they come up. We all have expense, we all have necessities we need to pay for, and um, so part of the course that I am doing is like around getting clarity on that and then asking for help like divine help. Like if this is like my expenses that we're going to have, get clear on those and then ask, okay, where is this coming from? Show me what I need to do. Show me how we're going to bring this in, and allow whatever is to come, because it could come in a way that you don't even expect. It could be a part-time job. It could be that you just need to do some writing and then you'll know where to put it. I obviously can't. I'm not a mind or a I don't think of myself as a future reader, but I do know that just asking those questions, like I told in the story before too, about where can I cut some expenses, and then it was very clear. It was like, here, save money here. Okay, now do this. Save You're saving money here. Actually, I'm gonna go sell my car because they're like, you're not gonna drive it, so someone else might need to. I'm like, okay, right? Like,
Yeah,
the answers
you're right.
will come.
Exactly. Well, this has been wonderful. I feel like I have so much clarity and understanding, and like I'm gonna like run back home and be like, pick a class. I'm like, what? Honestly, like I don't know how he deals with me, because I'm just like just all the time to him, and he's like, yep, and he loves it. He's like, I'm like, oh my God, you could be with anyone else who doesn't talk as much. He's like, I love hearing you talk. So it's like,
Aw.
so I think he'll be
Yeah.
excited. That's what we talked about in two, and I can, genuinely say I'm sorry, for projecting that onto him, because, at the end of the day, like, it's not always a one-sided thing, right? And not one person's right, one person's wrong type of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's both of you are just trying to figure it out, and you will.
yeah.
Just keep planning for it to work out. I know you've done it. You've told me stories where you've been like, it'll work out, and then it does, right? It
Yeah.
always does,
Yeah.
and it will. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely will keep that. I've been proven so many times, and I think right now the bit of work is to really dive in deep, but to like let go of the outcome. I think that's like, and that goes with finances, that goes with stability, that goes with, business thoughts, that goes with everything. Just do what your heart says and let go of the rest. It's something I always say, but to actually do that is so much harder.
great.
But it does bring a lot of joy. So I'm just gonna let go and let the universe do the rest.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carissa. Thanks for doing this with me. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.